The final step on our bag is we need to sew our button that's decorative here onto the pocket. To do that, you're going to need a hand sewing needle, a toothpick, some thread, and some scissors so you can cut the thread. To start, you're going to need a T-pose amount of thread, and we're going to start by folding it in half so both of the ends are together here, and then working our way down to the fold here. And then we're going to take this loop of thread and we're going to thread it through the eye of the needle. When we sew buttons, we want them a little extra strong compared to our normal hand sewing. So if you get really close to the fold down here, you can slip it through the eye of your needle. And then we're going to bring this fold, the loop, and we're going to pull it all the way down here so that it lines up with our two tail ends, and we'll just pull straight through. Now we need a knot down here. You can tie any knot you'd like. Once again, my favorite one is I just pin the thread around the needle like so. Wrap it around 4 or so times. It's double layered. You don't need as many loops as normal. And then I pinch where it's looped. And I just slide the needle through. Keep pinching it until we make it all the way to the end. Pull it nice and tight. And there we go. I've got a lovely knot. To start off, please be careful when you sew your button on that you only sew it through the pocket layer, not all the way through your bag. You kind of like to be able to use this pocket. So I'm just going to center my button and go, I think right there is centered. I want it down about an inch from the edge to the center. And right here is where I want my button. So I'm going to do what I call a pin stitch, where I pin the needle into the fabric, and then I pull it tight so that it's a stitch now. I'm going to take my button, and I'm going to decide which side I want the top to be. I'm going to come up through the bottom with my needle. And then the most common way to sew a button is to make an X. So I'm going to go down diagonally through the next hole. And now it's down here near my fabric. Now I need to go through my fabric. I like to do this one as a pin stitch again. And before I pull this tight, I'm going to go up one of the holes that I haven't been down, and down its diagonal one. And then for now, I'm just going to stab my needle through so it comes out the back side of my pocket and pull it off over here, but I haven't tightened this yet. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my toothpick and I'm going to slide it here underneath my thread. And now I'll tighten it down snug next to my button. There we go. So I currently have an X of thread going across my toothpick, even if you can't tell. You want to have 3 complete X's to have a secure button. So what you're going to do is you're going to come up here through the fabric, since my thread came out of the fabric. I'm going to come up one of these holes and then go diagonally down the next one, making sure I don't go through the bag, just the pocket, and making sure that my thread goes on top of the toothpick. And I'll pull it snug. I came up this hole and went down that one. I need to do my best to come up this hole. There we go. and then diagonally down across the toothpick. I now have 2 complete X's here. I need 3. So I'm going to come up this one, diagonally across this one, still not going through my bag. Now I have one more I need to do. Come up this one, diagonally down across, down through this one. Now I have 3 complete X's across my toothpick. What I want to do now is I'm going to come up through the pocket fabric, but not through the button, so I'm right here underneath my button. Carefully, I'm going to remove my toothpick. Pull the button up so the thread is nice and tight there, and it sticks up off the fabric a little bit. This thread here is going to be the shank. The shank allows the buttonhole to go over it. So I'm just going to make a circle around my button and come through the circle with my thread and pull the thread tight underneath my button. And I need to do this 3 to 4 times to create a nice tight column of thread underneath here. There we go. I want one more. Nice tight column of thread here holding the button off the fabric just a little bit. And now the final thing I need to do is I need to tie a knot. One way to tie a knot is to stab straight through this column of thread that you just did, and then pull it through the loop here so you've actually got you do not need to go around the button. You actually get a knot tied right there into the thread. So just like your shoes, you need to double knot it, so you go through that column thread one more time. Got a loop here that I'm going to come through. And that's an effective knot. My favorite one is just right here in the fabric. I do another teeny little pin stitch. And I've got a loop, so I come through it. And once again, I do a second one to just double knot, tie my shoes. Final step is we don't want to see this thread hanging here, so if you just carefully stick your needle in here, right next to where you came out and have your knot, you can travel between the layers of your pocket, pull the thread through. If it's a little bit tight and you cut it off, it will suck down in between the layers of your bag. And there you go, you got a nice button sewn right here on your bag with a nice thread shank underneath.